We are back in 1988, continuing our look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy line by Playmates. Last time we checked out the Turtles' foster father and mentor, the radical rat, Master Splinter. This time we're checking out his arch nemesis, the leader of the Foot Clan, the evil Shredder, here on Creed's Collection. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Creed's Collection. My name's Creed, and today we're checking out Shredder from the 1988 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy line by Playmates. Shredder's real name is Oroko Saki, and he has two backstories. In the comics, Shredder's older brother is killed by Hamato Yoshi, Splinter's human master. Shredder then tracks him down and kills him, sparking his rivalry with Splinter. In the cartoon, Shredder and Splinter are members of the Foot Clan in Japan, and Shredder frames Splinter for murder, who then exiles himself to New York. In both versions, Shredder becomes the leader of the Foot Clan and uses them to carry out his evil schemes. And now that we know a bit more about Shredder, let's take a closer look. While this action figure is undeniably Shredder, and I do think he has a very cool look, he looks very different than he did in the cartoon. We'll start off with his head sculpt, which I think actually looks really good, but it has a weird color scheme, of course, and there's something I'm going to show you here you can't unsee. His eyebrows are painted onto his helmet. That's right, the helmet line goes across right there, and if you look, you'll see they are definitely painted onto the helmet sculpt. My Shredder is also one of the first wave soft head figures, as you can see. They were later re-released with hard heads. Here on Shredder's shoulder, you can see his signature blade armor. I don't understand why this wasn't silver. It looks cool, and of course he does have one on both sides, but it's just, why blue? Here, of course, he has his wrist blades as well. He has them on both hands. Despite them being the wrong color, they all look really good. And you'll notice his physique is also well sculpted, and he's got a really cool black belt down here. There's a little tab on the front, and that's where you pop it together. The belt also holds his cape shut on his body, which typically the cape flows down his back on the show, but this belt holds it together and makes it look more like a kimono or a gi. Not sure if those are the right terms, but it just looks a lot more traditionally Japanese. Now we're going to take a look at Shredder's legs. We'll just pull back his little cape here, and you can see the blade armor also on his shins. He's got the wrappings like a ninja around his legs, and of course they're on both sides. And the bottom part here, he does have the purple trunks as well, kind of like a Masters of the Universe figure. While we're looking at his legs, it's worth noting that Shredder's knees cannot bend. They are forever stuck in this position, meaning he's always in a horse stance. So intimidation through height really isn't an option. For God's sake, stand up straight. Take a little pride in yourself. You're an evil villain after all. This is as straight as I can stand. It's how I'm sculpted. Oh, well, what I meant to say is, you look amazing! Oi, go get those turtles! This isn't awkward at all. Oh, how does that foot taste, Skeletor? Get it? Foot? Because Shredder... Anyway, now we're going to take a look at Shredder's articulation. As we just established, Shredder's knees are in this very fixed position, and they cannot be moved at all. But his hips have a point of articulation where you can kind of move him around a little bit, although it really doesn't matter because his legs have to be like that to stand. So his shoulders have a joint as well that can go up and around full 360 if you want, but the cape would probably get in the way. He also has a swivel point right here, so he can flip his hand over and be like, come on, you want some? Of course, both these points are on the other side, and then of course his head can turn left. Oh, pretty stiff. And it can also turn right. And that's it. That covers all 7 points of articulation for Shredder. Now we're going to take a look at Shredder's accessories, starting with this weapons rack. The weapons are attached to it, and you pop them off when you get it. And you're supposed to be able to store them on here, but it really doesn't work. There is a little leg kick out here, so you can set it up. And like I said, it's supposed to be a weapons rack, but actually useless. Shredder also comes with a katana, which is really cool looking, but why is it brown? Imagine if this were gray plastic instead. It would look so cool. Even without paint detail, it'd look a lot more like metal. But there's one big problem with Shredder. He has one open hand, and this hand is only got 3 fingers open. So he has a really hard time holding on to any of his weapons. As you can see right here, the sword flops around in his hand, and it just isn't very effective. It doesn't really matter though, because he pretty much only fought exclusively with his bladed armor anyway, so the weapons are kind of redundant. Shredder also has this weapon with a really nice textured handle and a straight blade coming off with a hook. I have no idea what this is called. I tried to find the name of it and I just couldn't, but it is still pretty cool looking. However, it has the same problem as the sword, and that's that it looks pretty dumb in Shredder's hand and he doesn't hold on to it very well at all. Next, Shredder has this blade weapon for stabbing, and to me it looks a lot like a piece of pizza. But this one is actually pretty cool, and it's got a handle there and a blade, of course. And this one looks the best in his hand by far. As you can see, it actually looks like he could do some stabbing with it, but just like everything else, it's pretty loose, and as you can see, it tends to flop around in his hand. So I still prefer him unarmed. Shredder also has this little stabby thing with a handle here and 3 blades sticking out of it. This one also reminds me of a piece of pizza, and once again, why didn't they just make all this gray plastic? It would have looked much more like metal. Sadly, I do not have Shredder's last 2 accessories, his ninja stars, but just so you know what they look like, there they are, right on top of the weapons rack. The copyright for Shredder is on the bottom of the figure, 1988 Mirage Studios, Playmates Toys. And here's a quick look at Shredder's file card. If you'd like to read it, pause now. And now for our He-Man size comparison. While Shredder's actually quite a bit shorter than He-Man, if he could just stand up straight, I have a feeling he'd be half an inch to an inch taller. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the Evil Shredder from the 1988 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy line by Playmates. Shredder is one of those classic action figures that while he looks quite a bit different than he did on the show, he's still beloved. A lot like Megatron from Transformers, but actually more accurate than him in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. It would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.